Well, hello, folks. Glad you could be with me this morning. Hope you all doing well. Me, I'm doing fine. Um, I had to go ahead and do this early today because I got to go to my grandson's graduation, and I wanted to get this out there, and maybe we could get a few on here with us and talk a little bit before we go. We've had rain here all day, and biggest part of the night too, I think. But anyhow, uh, we've had enough rain for now, hopefully, and it'll quit by 7 o'clock. That's when the graduation is. But we hasn't it hasn't rained hard enough to raise the creeks or anything. Just a steady sprinkle and drizzle. But I thought we'd talk about the military a little bit and gold. Um, when I was in the military, I was every place I was at, there was plenty of gold, and including Vietnam. Um, I would go down to the beach. At Vietnam, we had the beaches right on the base. Had a mile and a half long beach, and I would go down there and I would pan every time I'd see a little black sand as the water run out. I'd get a pan of it and pan it out, and I'd get gold just about every time. Maybe not a lot, but more than I had when I started. And there was a I do that quite often when I was off duty, and had I usually had uh, a day and a half a week that I didn't have nothing to do. But when I was assured I'd have time to do it, there was a little creek that run in off one of the mountains not too far from Tuiwa. It mangled down through the army compound and come out right on the beach. And I'd go down there and I'd pan there, and I'd get quite a bit of gold on the beach there where that little stream come down because it it every time it rained during the monsoon season, it would get 10 or 15 feet high, and it would wash gold right up on the sand where it turned to go into the ocean. And I get quite a bit of gold that way because it all the heavies come out on the side that I was on, and I would get quite a bit of gold. And the only problem was when I left Vietnam, they wouldn't let me take it on the plane. Uh, I had to turn every bit of it in, and they had metal detectors there to to get it. Now, when I'd find small amounts, a lot of times I would mail them to my dad, and he would get them in the mail, and I'd have an envelope in there just full of little pickers and stuff. But I made sure it didn't go over the amount that the the price of the mail would be uh, for that size letter. But we got it free, and I don't know if it would have made a difference or not. But uh, I never did put more where it would be more than about a quarter of an ounce at a time, and I never did have no problem. All that got home, but I sent home letters every week that way, and Dad was glad to hear from me. But if I'd have sent it to anybody else, they'd have spent it if they could know how to sell it. But there was a lot of gold in Vietnam. Vietnam didn't classify gold as worthy uh, to go for because they just use it for uh, tribal jewelry and stuff like that. Their money was backed by silver. Uh, the Vietnamese money called piastres, and all the piastres was backed by silver, and gold was just ornamental to them. But that's the way it was in some places, and they didn't want you bringing the gold out. But I can understand that too. But I guess the most plentiful place that I was at was in Michigan. Lake Superior is full of gold. You can go anywhere on the beach around Lake Superior. Now, there's a lot of cliffs on Lake Superior, and you got to find places where you get down between the cliffs and uh, the shoreline. And I would almost be safe in saying that there's probably more gold in Lake Superior. Uh, I'm talking about the whole lake. There's more gold in Lake Superior than's ever been taken out of the ground worldwide, because uh, the glaciers completely covered uh, the lakes at one time, and they pushed gold from Canada and all the northern territories up there down into northern United States. Now, uh, Lake Superior is so deep that there's a tremendous amount of glacier drift down at the bottom of what was considered the bottom of the lake. And now there might have been a little liquid down there, but mostly uh, the ice only went down probably all 75% of the way in the deepest parts. Now, this is from what I can understand from what I've read. There was some water underneath the ice because it just didn't have time to freeze down that far because of moving water all the time. And now, what I read was not documented, I don't think. It might have just been somebody else's opinion. But either way, the gold was still under and with the glacier. And when it receded, it left all that gold right in Lake Superior. Now, also, uh, it dropped off gold around all the edges and all around the other parts of the country in northern Michigan. And even southern Michigan got some gold. Uh, I don't know exactly whereabouts it is the richest at in southern Michigan because I never did pan there any. But all over northern Michigan, you can put down a pan anywhere you see a little bit of gravel. And if you stay there and do 2 or 3 or 4 pans, you're going to find some gold. Because I've put down a many a shovel on many different places in just small amounts of gravel. Now, if it was man-made put there, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about deposits around creeks, uh, in fields where there's a gravel deposit and stuff like that. Because all that gravel, you take a gravel up in the fields out of place, but it's there because the glacier dropped it off. And you dig there, and you'll find a little gold all over the place. And but you can go along the beach there, all between Marquette and Munising, especially, and because of the type of wave action that they got there. It's on the southern side of the lake, and all the way to Munising, uh, you get the right kind of wave action to deposit that bottom gold up onto the bank. Now, you don't, unless you've been there, you don't realize how violent those storms can be and how violent that water can get. But Marquette, Michigan, uh, about 2 miles before you get to Marquette, along the shoreline there, there's 30-foot cliffs all along the southern border of the lake there. And I've seen water come in waves and splash all the way up on the road and cause accidents because of it gets so violent. And really, people, I don't know, they might have closed off the road at times because it got terrible in the summertime when they'd have a really bad storm. And uh, I don't see how the ships could do it when it was really bad because just as big a waves as there is out on the ocean comes off the Marquette area right in there. But there's a lot of gold there. And the Carp River, it's got a lot of false bottom in it. It runs in right to the east of Marquette. And oh, uh, Carp River, I guess it starts, I think, somewhere up in the copper country and runs a long ways from about 100 miles, and it's got false bottoms all over. Not very wide. I think the widest place I ever seen the Carp River is about 45 to 50 feet, and it might have been some long. That's all widest I ever seen. And what the problem is, you'd be walking along there in the Carp River, and you pick you up a pan of stuff, pan it every now and then, get your gold out of it, and you might be in fine right there, and you make one raw, wrong move without sticking a steel rod down to see if it's solid, and you can go into 20 foot of water. And getting up might be a task because that water's cold and it will not give you no warning. And if you got anything in your pocket that's heavy, it's going to pull you down a little bit. And it's hard to get back up out of that slush and stuff. I always carried a 15, 20-foot steel rod with me, that about as big as your little finger, and you punch it into that ground. And it was cumbersome to carry around, but I carried it with me all the time. One I had was a telescopic. Uh, it was a half-inch tube of steel with I think about a oh 5/16 or something like that that went inside of it, just a little bit less than a half inch, maybe uh, I think 5/16 maybe what it was, but it could have been something another size that they used. But anyhow, it just like slid up and down. And when you got it to that point, you had a little clip you put through it and a hold to hold it steady. And a lot of times you needed almost when you'd hit where it would go through the silt, you need another 5, 6, 8, 10 feet before you'd hit bottom. Sometimes more than that. But it gives you an idea of how dangerous it is on the Carp River. And Carp River was full of German brown trout, pike, muskie, and people just couldn't get out into the water too much and wait around fly fishing because it would swallow you up in a hurry if you made a mistake. And I did go panning in it some, but I done most of my panning down to the mouth of it, where it runs into the Lake Superior. And uh, my daddy didn't raise no fool because I usually had hip waders on it, even down there where it run in the mouth, and I wasn't about to get out over them hip waders because Lake Superior water is cold. You've ever heard the old saying, that Lake Superior don't give up its dead. If you don't go down and get them, it won't give up its dead because they go clear straight to the bottom and very seldom found. But that cold water just treats you that way. And you last, I've seen people go skiing on Lake Superior. I always wear a wetsuit because even as it might be 80 degrees outside, that water will be down in the 50s, and it only takes all 15 or 20 minutes, and not even that really in Lake Superior in the summertime to cause your body to go into convulsions, and you'll not be able to operate, and it'll take you down. But it's a bad situation now. Little creeks or little rivers, uh, and places like All Train Basin, the water gets up sometimes around 65, 70 degrees, and not very much over that, but that's the reason the fishing's so good up there year round, is that the water warms up. But being in the military up there, I could go out on them beaches at Lake Superior and High Bank and Pan all I wanted to, and there's a lot of gold up there. I got a lot of gold up there. And place there in Eastern Michigan, the Ropes Gold Mine is when it was in operation was one of the richest gold mines at the time. Now, they may have found some richer at other times, but it was a rich mine. Now, I forget what it was a ton, but it was the way it read on some of the essay reports. It pretty close to an ounce a ton. Now, I won't stake my life on that because I don't know that they were official reports, but we found a lot of gold there. And when they shut it down, it had been shut down several years before I went in and started working around it. But they had big tailings, rock of tailings all around it, and you could go and you could see sulfides in them and gold in all those rocks, but you wasn't allowed to take any. Now, I got several feet from away from the mine, and then anything you found was, you could take. And there was water running, and had made a little stream, and that little stream was about probably at the widest point, about 4 foot, and down at the bottom where it run into the Carp River, why it was right at about 6 feet, I think. But it nicked up just a little bit above the Carp River, all about 30 yards up from the main river, and it got down to around 2.5, 3 feet. And we made a long tom, which is another name for a long sluice box, settling trough, and we put riffles in it, wooden riffles, and we had burlap in the bottom of it. And I think the one we made was two of them 10 foot long, and made 20 foot long toms because it was too hard to get in there with anything over 10 foot. It was not hard to get in there, but it's hard to get it there because I didn't have pickup. I had a car, station wagon, and we have to put them on the station wagon. And well, Zach had a station wagon. We always went in his station wagon, and we would take picks and shovels and loosen the dirt. Now, if we didn't siphon dirt out, water out to work in the dirt, it would be dry if we hadn't had any rain. So we took three 4-inch uh, PVC type that they had back in. I don't know if it's called PVC or not. I can't remember. But we got 3-inch. No, we got 4-inch, and we put cutoff nozzles on each one of them down about a foot from where the bottom of them was. And we had them up and had elbows on them, 45-degree uh, turns, until it went down into the water that was in the mine. And then we had little caps on it at certain places that we could take and pour water in them and fill them up, and then put the gas back on. And then we'd open up about 30 foot down below that. We'd open it up, and the vacuum of the water falling would draw water up in it and start a siphon action. And we'd open up 3 4 inches like that, which that would pump. You could fill up a 5-gallon can in 3 seconds with a 4-inch, because that 30 foot was a long drop. That was a lot of weight making a lot of suction. And we would before we turned them on, we would loosen that dirt all the way down to just before they went into the sluice boxes. And we had them sluice boxes right flush with the bottom. So it would go in over them riffles and had a little flare out on top end of it, so we'd catch all the water and all the material. And after we got that all loose with picks, and most generally both of us use a pick or a hoe and loosen that up. Well, that was roughly 200 yards to maybe 250 from the top of the hill where we had the little creek started out of the mine, all the way down to where it went into the Carp River. A lot of loosening up soil. Well, we had two stiff concrete brooms. Had them big long bristles about like that, and clean concrete floor with. And I'm not talking about the ones, little black bristles that was about like that. These were some kind of like porcupine quills or something stiff. I don't remember what it was made out of. But as soon as we opened those things up, we would let them run a little bit, and then we'd start brushing everything that we loosened with the broom. When we'd be right in that water, we fell I don't know how many times, but we would brush that little creek, that little branch and it was made by the water that come out of the mine. And we would brush it all the way down to that long tom. And when we got down there, we go up, and we had about 8 feet down in the water, so we wasn't going to run the thing dry. It filled up faster than you could pump it out, but we wanted to make sure. And we go up, cut the water off. We'd eat our dinner or take us a break. And then by the time we'd take us a break, it would be dry enough that we could get in there and start breaking up the soil again. Well, to make a long story short, every day that we was able to do that. Now we wasn't able to do it every day, and we didn't get to do it every week. But we didn't have to take our long time in and out of the river either. We left it in there because nobody would ever bother. They didn't know what it was. They didn't see it half the time because the water, a little bit of water run over it all the time, because there was a spring one place there in the lower part of that when it roughed out enough, it kind of opened up a little spring, and I think that was from the mine too. But anyhow, it had probably about 2/3 of the way down is where that little spring was. So it kept a little water going through it all the time. And we go back up and take us a break after we shut that water off. We go down, loosen that water up again. Take us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to loosen it up all the way down to the sluice. You didn't have to loosen every bit of it because when you loosen a good amount of it, as that was washing down, it would loosen more because it caused the water turbulent, and it would loosen even more. That's what they got called the washing action. And when we got it loose all the way down, we go up and we turn her again. We could do that twice a day when we did do it. And we averaged, uh, I know it's going to be hard to believe, but we averaged over a half an ounce a piece every day that we got to do that. And a lot of that wasn't gold that come out of the mine. It was gold that was just naturally in the ground, all in that area, because they was real fine rock in that soil everywhere. And it's kind of like caliche that hadn't got hard yet, if you know what I'm saying. It was just good soil and it had that fine rock all through it. Well, it was quartz. Everything had been dropped off of the glaciers. And plus, like I say, the gold up there is full of sulfides anyhow, all of it. Up in the copper country, down in the southern part of the below the copper country. And we would get just about an ounce and a half a piece. So you might say 3 ounces. And we split that. And of course, now we wouldn't split it there on the bank. We'd go to Zach's house. We had all the equipment over there because we couldn't mess up our backyards and stuff. Being on a military base, we had to do it all in his backyard. So we go over there and we'd separate it out. And we had all of our nitric acid and all of our panning equipment and stuff over there, and we'd separate it out, and we'd split about an ounce and a half every day, every time we done that. And of course, it didn't sell for much back then. It was around $68 to about $72 back and forth, around all the time. So we didn't sell it. We hoarded it, put it in the bank. What we did in safe deposit boxes, and because either one, we tell our wife, they can't keep a secret, and the next thing you know, somebody be ransacking our house when they wasn't supposed to, and we'd be gone. But neither one of us ever told our wives what we was doing, and they didn't know. So it was best that they didn't know. They always thought we was going hunting because there's something in the season all the time up there, and a lot of things you could hunt that there wasn't no season on. But every now and then we'd shoot a little something, bring it back, so they think that's what we're doing, or catch a fish and bring it back. But anyhow, uh, when you got places like that to go and prospect, you fall in love with gold mining. I mean, you just can't get enough of it. And I've done it since I was 18 years old. And I have found gold in California. I found gold in Oregon. We go out there on special trips and with the military, and I would go out on the beach or wherever I was at. I'll tell you, some places, one of the best places in California to get gold you ever seen. And I'd always, if I was going to be going by there, I'd always have 3 or 4 5 gallon buckets with me. Because on the highway that goes up and down along the coast, uh, just below I think they're called the Sierra Nevada Mountains or something like that. Now, don't hold me to that because I can't remember names very well because I never did live in California, just when I'd be passing through. And I'd go down the the road would pass over bridges. Well, these bridges would be over creeks that come down the mountains up a little east of that highway. And you go down there where them gravel settle, and that's all it was, gravel beds. Wasn't much water running at any time unless it was a storm. And me and Zach, me and my buddy that was out there with me, whoever it might have been, we'd go down there and they'd help me fill them 5-gallon buckets up. And then when I got to a place I could, I'd go through it and I'd take the gold out of it. And that stuff was lousy with gold. The black sand was almost 15% gold. And had a lot of times breaking that 5-gallon buckets down and getting the gold out of it. Of course, I had a sifter. I'd sift the big rock stuff out. It wouldn't be nothing but anything less than 1/4 of an inch. That way, nuggets, and I found a lot of nuggets that way. So there's always if you got time to do it, it's always a little way to get a little bit of gold wherever you're at, because uh, in the West Coast, and the East Coast, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, uh, they all got gold in them. Virginia, Delaware, Washington D.C. is built on gold all over the place, and right up on into to Maine, Nova Scotia. There's gold all the way up the East Coast. There's gold in Ohio. There's gold in Kentucky. Not much in Kentucky, but there is gold in Kentucky. There's Indiana's got gold. Illinois' got gold. Uh, Very few states that don't have gold, and Kentucky's don't have much. I don't think Australia, or not Australia, but Hawaii. I don't know about Hawaii. I've never been out there and done any prospecting. Went through there on a plane one time, coming back from Nam, and that's it. Uh, wouldn't have done it then if we hadn't had an emergency landing. I was on a Pan Am flight, and something happened to one of their, I think one of the flaps, hydraulic unit went out on it or something, and they had to land, and uh, they took a hydraulic tube off and put one on about 35, 40 minutes, and then we was off again. But they called in, told them what was wrong. Had to come up on their instrument panel that had a hydraulic leak in the left wing, I believe it was, on the flap, and actually give the number of the part for them to have to fix it when they got there. And that's what you call efficiency when you can do that. I didn't know the airplanes and stuff did that back then. But Pan Am was a good company to fly on. But uh, down in Alabama, of course, I was stationed down there, and that's where I learned to gold mining. Scrappy Collins' story about me meeting him is on Angel Fire. Go over and look it up. It's www.angelfire /Kentucky/gold page / and bring it up, and you can read. It'll come up in orange paper, orange background with blue typing on it, easy on the eyes, and it'll tell the whole story. But yeah, it's a good way to make a little extra money on the side, and especially now because you just think back when I was doing all that in the 60s and 70s, gold was only $68 an ounce to about 72 or 74. I never did get over 74 for years. I think it was up in 84. Never got above 74. I might be wrong, but it seemed like it's what it was. But I kept most of my gold until I switched over to the Army. And then I had occasion or two that I sold some and bought a house or two. And so it's a good way to make money off of money because it is the only money that there really is. Uh, this paper stuff, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to get to the point that there ain't going to be no paper money at all. Banks won't take it. Banks won't give it out. If you ain't got a debit card or something like that, and to go to an ATM or something like that, banks are going to quit holding money in the banks because you'd be sad how many bank robbers they still are, and or at least tried. I don't know how many successful ones there are, but still happens all the time. And once they lose that money, that means their insurance is going to go up. It pays it back to them if they get it back. But I'm looking, I'm looking for the United States to go banks go paperless within the next 5 years, 4 years maybe. Um, you'll have debit cards and everything will be digital. Uh, when you get paid for something, they'll send it to the bank digital, and you can have all your bills paid by the banks, and there won't be no counter or no tellers to take money at the windows and stuff. I think they'll probably keep the ATMs open, and you can go there to get money if you need cash for something. But ain't nobody gonna take cash. So why don't you need ATMs? Everything be done with card. Of course, I haven't carried more than $5 on me. Uh, well, maybe one time somebody paid me back some money they owe me. But everything I do is my bank. I don't need no cash, and that's what it's going to end up going to. Strictly digital. And anybody that don't believe that, well, that's your privilege. But uh, probably one of the safest investments you can make right now is start buying gold. Because if you buy gold, uh, and if we have a depression, whatever you buy it for, it'll only be pennies to what it'll go up to. Because you got to figure, say you buy 10 ounces of gold, and it costs you $1,000 or $2,000 an ounce. That's $20,000. Well, Joe, when the depression hits, your money volume goes down, what it's worth to you. And that gold is when that gold goes up, is in a depression. And if it goes up $50 an ounce, you've doubled your money because what you got in your vault or wherever is going to be worth that $50 an ounce instead of 2,000. And uh, 2050 or whatever, it's going to make your gold go way up. If it goes up $10, now it's going to be a lot less. But the gold usually rises quite a bit at a time. It might go up to a couple hundred within a 2 or 3 month period when it does go up. But I remember just a few years ago, it was only 15, 14, 15 something. And now it's 22, 23. I haven't looked at it today, but I think it was 23 something yesterday, spot price. But anyhow, um, it's a wonderful, wonderful side hobby. Get you hooked real quick, and you can go learn quite a bit by going on the GPAA outings or joining the Lost Dutchman's Mining Association. They own all the land that they got to go on outings on, and you can go there and you can pay so much a night, put your camper up, sleep right there, run your dredge, run your high bankers. They even pile it out on they'll go dig it up and put it in piles for you, but next to your high banker so you can run it. And you'll find gold because there's plenty of gold in Georgia, plenty of gold in Oconee and South Carolina, plenty of gold in North Carolina. And they got places in each one of those states free to go. Now, I don't think they got a place. They might have a place in Alabama now. I don't know of it. They do, but you take around the Coosa River, uh, just about any place that the Coosa River runs in northern Alabama, there's gold in that river. And back in the years ago, they found. Now, I was told this. I don't know it as a fact, but it was supposed to be a historical fact that they found nuggets as big as baseballs and softballs uh, in the Coosa River, in the drainage area of the Coosa River. Now, well, I never saw them, so I don't know. But that was supposed to be a historical fact. But now, a lot of historical facts are a little embellished. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's right or not. I don't know for sure if they even had softballs back then. They could have been, if they did, they could have been rubber softballs or something like that. I don't know, but that was the language that was used. It had nuggets big as baseballs and softballs. But you might be able to look that up on Wikipedia. I don't know. I never did. I know I found most of mine down there in the hard rock mine the hard way. And I mean, it's a hard way, but it's a lot of fun. But don't have anybody showing up yet. Drain the swamp. See, I guess he's not home yet or anything, and or he'd be on there. And I'm hoping he got my material I sent him. I sent him a copy of my uh, gold page on Angel Bar, and of course, um, Rose. Different time. I think when it's around 5 or 6 o'clock over here, she's just getting home from working all night, so she might still be at work. But anyhow, we got on here and we've had a pretty good talk. Maybe put out some information that you'd like to have with you because a lot of military people watch these YouTubes and stuff, and if you get them thinking about it, they might want to try to go read up on gold and find out if there's any in their area. I'd almost bet you there is, because there's gold in Mississippi, gold in Louisiana, there's gold in Florida on the beaches. Now, it's hard to find on the beaches in Florida. A lot of times you'll find more coin, gold coins than you will gold, but it's down there. You take down to Delta. That Delta off the Mississippi River is full of gold because the Mississippi got a lot of gold in it. The Ohio's got a lot of gold in it. The Ohio comes all the way off of the mountains in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, Kentucky, all the up there in New York, those contributaries up through there put gold in the rivers, and New York's full of gold. So those states take in a big portion of your military bases, and all you got to do is put a shovel down, pull up some of that sand, and work it. And if you start finding some black sand, you just have to start finding some gold. Now, I found gold where there ain't no black sand, but that's far and few between. There's not always gold in black sand, but there's usually always a little gold with black sand, but once in a while there's not. And so you never know. Gold is where you find it. There ain't no rule of thumb that tells you it ain't going to be there. Now, the likeliness of it being there is kind of slim, but that don't mean it won't be there. Because I believe I read an article one time by I don't know, some scientist, I can't remember who it was. They said that if you take a yard of dirt anywhere in the United States, there's going to be a trace of gold in it. Now, whether that's right or not, I don't know. But I tend to believe that that's probably right because you take these tornadoes that come from out of the west, uh, the dust and stuff is full of gold, and it can put it down anywhere it wants to. It can float dirt anywhere it wants to, and some of that dirt is going to have gold in it. So anyhow, you just got to think in that way. That's the kind of mindset you got to have. That anywhere you're at, it could be there, and you don't know until you go to look. And like I say, Kentucky don't have a lot, but Kentucky's got it. It's just a few places, but actually say one, two. Now the Ohio River, you can find gold all the way up and down the Ohio River, and it borders Kentucky. But you got gold in Powell County, Kentucky. You got gold out near Litchfield. Seems like there's another one somewhere, and I can't right now. My mind ain't thinking. But like I say, there's plenty of it in along the Ohio River borders Kentucky, and you're allowed to pan it. Find you a sandbar and go at it, man, because it comes down out of Pennsylvania. All of Kentucky runs into Ohio River. All of West Virginia on the west side of the mountains comes into the Ohio River. Now the east side goes the other way, but all Pennsylvania just about ends up one way or another. You come down the Allegheny and all that kind of stuff. I forget the name of all them creeks and rivers up there, but there's gold in Ohio from top to bottom, all the way down. Been running there for years because I found some of it, and that's how I know. But anyhow, we've had a good little session. I'm going to go ahead and close this one off. We haven't had nobody on, but we'll close this one down. It's been a good one, and God bless you. He will. And while you're watching this, after a while, somebody they several always watches it after it's posted on YouTube, and it stays there just like a regular video. And I have people come in and watch it. So when you're watching it, uh, if you like this kind of information, why subscribe, because I'll tell you where to go to find gold if you want to know. And I don't care a bit because there's enough there for everybody. But God bless you. Like and subscribe, and try to make somebody smile today if you can, because if you do, you never know. It could just change the world. And I'll see you on the next one.